The meeting room aboard the Galactic Council research ship, Harmony's Edge, was packed with representatives from 12 different species. Dr. Vexthera, a tall, blue-skinned scientist with 4 arms, stood at the front of the room. Tation hologram showed a planet that looked like it had been designed by nightmares. Council members, Dr. Vexthera began, her voice trembling slightly. What you see before you is Kelthera Prime. After 3 years of remote study, we have concluded that this is the most dangerous planet we have ever discovered. The holographic display rotated slowly, showing a world covered in violent storms. Lightning that glowed purple and white crashed across continents. Mountains moved like living things. Oceans boiled with acidic foam. The gravity is 3 times what most of our species can handle, Dr. Vexthera continued. The atmosphere creates plasma storms that can melt our strongest metals. The plant life has evolved to hunt and eat anything that moves, and the apex predators. She paused, her forehands shaking as she operated the controls. The hologram changed to show a shadowy creature that seemed to bend light around itself. Its eyes glowed red in the darkness. We call them void stalkers. They are invisible to most. Sensors. They can project fear directly into the minds of their prey. They hunt in packs and have never been observed to fail in a kill. A reptilian delegate named Seth raised his clawed hand. What about the radiation levels? Lethal to most known life forms, Dr. Vexthera replied. The crystalline formations across the planet emit energy that can cook organic tissue in minutes. During storm season, acid rain falls that can dissolve our ship hulls. Murmurs of horror rippled through the audience. Several delegates covered their faces with their hands or equivalent appendages. Our recommendation, Dr. Vexthera said firmly, is immediate classification as a Class 10 forbidden zone. No ship should go within 50 light years of this world. It is quite simply a death trap with no redeeming qualities. That was when Captain Hannah Kim raised her hand. The entire room turned to look at the human section of the meeting. Captain Kim was a small woman by human standards, wearing a simple blue uniform. Her black hair was tied back in a practical ponytail. She looked completely calm as every alien eye in the room focused on her. Yes, Captain Kim, Dr. Vexthera asked, surprised that anyone would have questions about such an obvious conclusion. Do you have landing zone recommendations? Captain Kim asked in a cheerful voice. The room fell silent. Dr. Vexthera blinked all 4 of her large eyes in confusion. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Landing zones, Captain Kim said, now pulling out a small tablet and starting to take notes. Which areas would be best for setting up a base camp? Also, do you know if those plasma storms have any seasonal patterns? It would help with scheduling. Dr. Jinwoo Park, another human sitting next to Captain Kim, leaned forward eagerly. And have you mapped any of the mountain ranges near those storm areas? Okay, they would be perfect for base jumping. The Seth delegate's jaw dropped open, showing rows of sharp teeth. Base jumping into certain death. Yeah, Dr. Park said with a grin. That's what makes it fun. Ambassador Yuki Choi, the senior human representative, placed a gentle hand on Captain Kim's shoulder. Perhaps we should let the good doctor finish her presentation first. But Captain Kim was already deep in planning mode. Dr. Vexthera, you mentioned the Void Stalkers hunt in packs. Do you know their pack sizes? Okay. And are they more active during day or night cycles? Why would you want to know that? Dr. Vexthera asked weakly. For safety planning, obviously, Captain Kim replied. If we know their hunting patterns, we can work around them. Okay, or maybe set up some kind of observation posts. They sound fascinating. Okay. Delegate from the Peaceful Harmony species stood up, his tall, thin frame trembling. Captain Kim, I believe you misunderstood. This planet kills everything that approaches it. The doctor is recommending that we never go there. I understood perfectly, Captain Kim said brightly. But you're thinking about this all wrong. You're seeing problems. I'm seeing the ultimate adventure destination. Dr. Park nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. Do you know how hard it is to find a real challenge these days? Most planets are so safe, they're boring. This planet would kill you in minutes, Dr. Vextera said, her voice rising in pitch. Maybe, Captain Kim admitted. But what if it doesn't? What if we could actually survive there? Think about the bragging rights. She turned to address the entire room. Look, I understand that this planet scares all of you, but humans have been dealing with dangerous environments our whole history. We've lived on worlds with poisonous air, deadly weather, and predators that wanted to eat us. This Kelthera Prime sounds like Earth, but with better special effects. The room erupted in shocked chatter. Several delegates began speaking at once in their various languages. Ambassador Choi stood up to restore order. What my colleagues are trying to say is that humans have a different relationship with danger than most species. We tend to see it as a challenge rather than a deterrent. A challenge, Seth hissed. This planet is genocide in physical form. That's what makes it interesting, Dr. Park said. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Dr. Vexthera sat down heavily in her chair. I have spent 3 years studying this planet. I have seen it destroy probe after probe. I have watched it kill everything we sent to its surface. And you want to go there for fun? Not just for fun, Captain Kim corrected. For science, for exploration, for the advancement of human knowledge. And okay, yes, also for fun. She stood up and faced the room. Look, I know this sounds crazy to all of you, but humans didn't become a spacefaring species by playing it safe. We got here by looking at the impossible and figuring out how to make it possible. But the radiation alone, Dr. Vextera protested. We'll bring radiation suits, Captain Kim said simply. The gravity will crush you. We'll train in high-gravity chambers. The Void Stalkers will hunt you. We'll learn their patterns and work around them. Maybe even make friends with them. The entire room stared at her in stunned silence. Friends, Seth repeated slowly, with invisible, telepathic apex predators. Why not? Dr. Park asked. Humans have domesticated plenty of dangerous species. Wolves, bears, even some types of venomous snakes. These Void Stalkers might just need the right approach. Ambassador Choi smiled apologetically at the other delegates. I know this is difficult to understand. Humans have a saying, one person's nightmare is another person's adventure vacation. Dr. Vextara put her head in all 4 of her hands. I cannot believe I am having this conversation. Captain Kim was already back to taking notes. Dr. Vextera, do you have detailed atmospheric readings and soil composition data? We'll need to know what kind of equipment to bring. You're serious? About this, Dr. Vextera said. It wasn't a question. Completely serious, Captain Kim confirmed. Fact, I'd like to request copies of all your research data, and if possible, orbital survey maps. For what purpose? Captain Kim grinned. Cool. Planned the greatest extreme sports expedition in galactic history. The meeting room fell silent again. Then, slowly, delegates began to whisper among themselves. Some sounded horrified. Others sounded fascinated. A few sounded like they were placing bets. Dr. Vextera looked around the room, then back at the humans. If you actually manage to survive down there, will you at least send regular reports? Of course, Captain Kim said. We'll live stream the whole thing. And that was how the galaxy's most dangerous planet became humanity's next vacation destination. 6 months after the meeting aboard Harmony's Edge, the human exploration vessel Soul's Pride drifted through space toward Kelthara Prime. The ship had been completely rebuilt for what the crew called their weekend getaway to hell. Team leader Minho Lee stood in the main cargo bay, watching his crew test their equipment. Minho was a former military officer who had started a company called Death World Ventures Inc. after getting bored with peaceful planets. He wore a practical black jumpsuit and had the calm confidence of someone who who had survived things that would give most people nightmares. Sora, how's the suit holding up? Minho called out. Sora. Nam was suspended 20 feet in the air, testing her modified power armor. She was a professional extreme sports athlete who had become famous for doing impossible stunts on dangerous worlds. Her bright pink hair was visible through the clear helmet as she performed barrel rolls in midair, a new plasma resistance. Coding works great, Sora said, landing gracefully. I can take a direct lightning hit for at least 30 seconds before I need to find cover. 30 seconds. Engineer Hun Wukong looked up from his workbench. That's not nearly enough. Let me add another layer. Hun Wu was tall and thin, with thick glasses that were always slightly dirty from whatever project he was working on. T had a gift for taking normal survival equipment and turning it into something that could keep humans alive in conditions that would kill most other species. Hyunwoo, we've been over this, Medic Aaron Song said without looking up from her medical supplies. More armor means less mobility. And on a planet where everything wants to eat us, mobility might be more important than armor. Aaron was small and quiet, but she knew more about treating exotic alien toxins than anyone else in human space. She had volunteered for the mission because she wanted to study the medical effects of surviving on an impossible world. What about we compromise? Sora suggested. Hyunwoo can make me a super armored suit for when we're being tourists, and a lightweight suit for when we want to actually have fun. Minho nodded approvingly. Good thinking. What about the camping gear? Hyunwoo grinned and gestured to a pile of equipment that looked nothing like normal camping supplies. I've redesigned everything. The tents can withstand acid rain, plasma storms, and direct attacks from large predators. The sleeping bags have built-in radiation shielding. The portable stove can cook food using background radiation as a heat source. What about air? Aaron asked. That's the best part, Hyunwoo said excitedly. I built portable atmospheric processors that can clean the local air and make it breathable. They're small enough to carry in a backpack. Sora picked up one of the devices. This is the size of a lunchbox. Exactly. And it'll give you 8 hours of clean air. It's perfect 4-day trips away from base camp. Okay. Minho walked over to examine their weapons locker. Any progress on non-lethal options for the Void Stalkers? I've been working on that, Hyunwoo said. Since they use telepathic attacks, I designed these headbands that can block psychic interference. And I made some sonic devices that might confuse their hunting patterns. Do you want to annoy invisible telepathic super predators? Aaron asked. I want to communicate with them, Hyunwoo corrected. They're obviously intelligent. Maybe we can work out some kind of understanding. Sora was already strapping on one of the headbands. How do we know if it works? We don't, Hyunwoo admitted. But that's what makes it exciting. Ho activated the ship's communication system. Soul's Pride to Earth Command. Status report. Captain Kim's voice came through clearly. We are monitoring your progress, Soul's Pride. How are the preparations going? Better than expected, Minho replied. The team is ready, the equipment is tested, and we're 2 days out from Kelthara Prime. Any updates from the Galactic Council? They're still trying to talk us out of this, Captain Kim said with amusement in her voice. Dr. Vextera sent another formal protest yesterday. She's convinced we're all going to die horribly, are we? Aaron asked. Probably not, Minho said. But if we do, at least it'll be interesting. Sora had activated her helmet's recording system and was speaking to her followers. Hey everyone, Sora here with another update from our approach to Kelthara Prime in about 48 hours. We're going to attempt the first human landing on what the galaxy calls the most dangerous planet ever discovered. She spun the camera around to show the cargo bay full of custom equipment. As you can see, we're not going down there unprepared. Hyunwoo has built us some amazing gear that should keep us alive long enough to have some real fun. Hyunwoo waved at the camera. Hi, Sora's followers, just remember, none of this equipment has been tested in actual death world conditions. We might have overlooked something important. That's what makes it an adventure, Sora said cheerfully. If we knew it would work perfectly, where would be the challenge? Minho joined them on camera. For those just joining us, this is team leader Minho Lee. I want to address some of the concerns we've been getting from other species. He looked directly into the camera. Yes, we know this planet is dangerous. Yes, we know that every probe sent there has been destroyed. Yes, we know that the local predators have never failed to kill their prey. But humans didn't get into space by avoiding danger. We got here by figuring out how to survive it. Aaron appeared beside him. From a medical perspective, I should mention that everyone on this team has signed extensive waivers. We know the risks, and we've accepted them. Besides, Sora added, how often do you get a chance to visit a planet that's literally never been explored by living beings? This is going to be the adventure of a lifetime. The camera feed switched to show the view outside the ship. In the distance, a small dot was growing larger. It looked innocent enough from space. Just another planet orbiting its star. There she is, Minho said quietly. Kelthera Prime. Even from millions of miles away, they could see the constant storms swirling across the planet's surface. Lightning flickered between the clouds like angry fireflies. Sensors are picking up the plasma activity, Hyung-woo reported. It's even more intense than the Council's data suggested. Is that good or bad? Sora asked. Depends on your perspective, Hyung-woo said with a grin. For safety, it's terrible. For spectacular views, it's perfect. Open the communication channel to the rest of the ship. All crew, this is your final reminder. We reach Kelthera Prime in 36 hours. Use that time to double-check your equipment and review the safety protocols. He paused. And remember, we're not just doing this for ourselves. Every human who dreams of exploring impossible places is counting on us to prove it can be done. Aaron was monitoring the communication channels from other ships in the area. Minho, you should hear this. We're getting messages from all over the galaxy. What kind of messages? Betting pools? Mostly. The Reptilian Trade Federation is offering odds on our survival time. The Crystalline Collective is taking bets on which of us dies first. And the Harmony species has organized a prayer circle for our safe return. Sora laughed. At least someone cares about us. The interesting thing, Aaron continued, is that we're also getting messages from other humans. Apparently, there are 12 more human ships heading this way. 12. No. Asked, word got out about our expedition. Other extreme sports teams want to get in on the action. There's going to be a whole human tourist fleet here within the month. Hyun-woo looked up from his equipment. Should we wait for them? No way, Sora said immediately. We're going to be the first humans to set foot on Kelthera Prime. History isn't going to wait for latecomers. Minho nodded. Agreed, we stick to the original plan. He looked around at his team. They were busy, focused, and completely unafraid. They looked like people preparing for the vacation of a lifetime, rather than a mission to the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. Soul's Pride to Earth Command, Minho said into the communicator. Final status report before landing. Team morale is high, equipment is ready, and we're all looking forward to finally getting some real excitement. Captain Kim's voice crackled through space. Copied at Soul's Pride. The whole galaxy is watching. Try not to get eaten on the first day. Promises, Minho replied. And with that, Soul's Pride continued to ward its date with the impossible. Soul's Pride dropped through the violent atmosphere of Kelthera Prime like a stone falling through a storm. Lightning crashed against the ship's shields while acid rain hammered the hull. Inside the landing bay, the human team watched their destination grow larger through the viewports. Well, Sora said, filming the chaos outside, this is definitely more exciting than the brochures promised. The landing zone was a crystalline plateau that glowed with soft blue radiation. Most species would have been cooked by the energy levels, but the humans had chosen it specifically because the radiation was pretty and the crystals looked like good climbing material. Touchdown in 30 seconds, announced their pilot. Hope you brought sunscreen, because those crystals are putting out enough radiation to power a small city. Minho checked his equipment one final time. Remember everyone, we're not just trying to survive here, we're trying to have fun. If this isn't enjoyable, we're doing it wrong. The ship landed with a heavy thud. Through the viewports, they could see the surface of Kelthara Prime for the first time with their own eyes. The crystalline formations stretched toward the horizon like a frozen forest made of diamonds. In the distance, purple lightning danced between floating rocks that defied gravity. Atmospheric readings? Minho asked. Breathable with filters, Hyunwoo reported. Radiation levels are high, but manageable with the suits. Gravity is intense, but not crushing. Temperature is actually quite pleasant. Void stalker activity. No immediate contacts, but the sensors are picking up movement about 2 kilometers out. Could be anything. Sora was already suited up and heading for the airlock. Come on, people. You didn't travel across the galaxy to stand around in a spaceship. The airlock opened with a hiss, and the team stepped onto the surface of the most dangerous planet in known space. The first thing they noticed was how beautiful it was. The crystals sang in the wind with musical tones. The acid lakes in the distance reflected the constant lightning like mirrors. Strange plants that looked like coral grew between the crystal formations in impossible colors. This is gorgeous, Aaron said, taking readings with her medical scanner. And surprisingly, the air quality isn't too bad once you filter out the toxins. Anu was already examining the nearest crystal formation. These things are fascinating. They're alive, but they're also mineral. It's like they're hybrid plant trunks. Are they dangerous? Minho asked. Probably, Hyunwoo said cheerfully. But they're also really pretty. I want to collect some samples. Sora had wandered over to one of the acid lakes and was testing the water with a probe. The acid levels aren't as bad as the reports suggested. I bet I could surf on this with the right equipment. Surf on acid? Aaron asked. Why not? A stunt. Like it's going to be more dangerous than regular surfing. It's different. The team spent their first hour exploring the immediate area around their landing site. Everything they found was deadly in some way, but it was also strangely beautiful. The carnivorous plants tried to grab them when they walked by, but they did it with flowers that smelled like vanilla. The crystal formations emitted lethal radiation, but they also created rainbow patterns in the air. This is actually kind of relaxing, Minho said, setting up their base camp between 2 large crystals. It's like a very aggressive nature preserve. That was when they encountered their first void stalker. Sora was filming a segment about the local plant life when something invisible knocked her camera out of her hands. The device flew 20 feet and landed in a patch of glowing moss. Okay, Sora said calmly. That was definitely not the wind. The team formed a defensive circle, scanning the area with their various sensors. Psychic detection headband started beeping rapidly. Contact, he said quietly. Big one, 2 meters out and closing. They couldn't see it, but they could feel it watching them. The air seemed to get colder, and shadows moved where there shouldn't be shadows. Remember, Minho said softly, these things use fear as a weapon. Don't let it get to you. The Void Stalker began its signature telepathic assault, projecting waves of pure terror directly into their minds. Most species would have been paralyzed with fear or fled in panic. Instead, Sora looked around with interest. Oh, that's what that feeling is. It's like a really intense horror movie. It's a fear projection. It's actually quite sophisticated, Hyunwoo observed, taking readings with his equipment. It's targeting specific areas of our brain chemistry. Is it working? Aaron asked. Not really, Minho admitted. I mean, I can feel that it's trying to make me afraid, but it's not very effective. It's like someone telling you that you should be scared instead of actually making you scared. The Void Stalkers seemed confused by their lack of terror. The psychic attacks intensified, but the humans just stood there discussing the experience, like scientists observing an interesting phenomenon. I think it's trying harder now, Sora said. The fear projections are getting more creative. Now it's showing me images of being eaten alive. It's pretty standard predator behavior, Minho said. It's trying to break our morale before attacking. Physically, should we be worried? Aaron asked. Probably, Hyunwoo said, but I'm more curious than worried. This is the first documented case of humans experiencing Void Stalker telepathy. I want to see what happens next. What happened next was that the Void Stalker gave up on fear and decided to try direct physical intimidation. It decloaked about 20 feet away from them, revealing itself to be a creature that looked like a cross between a large cat and a shadow made solid. Its red eyes glowed in the dim light, and its claws were longer than human hands. Oh, wow, Sora said immediately, switching her backup camera to record. You're beautiful. The Void Stalker paused. In thousands of years of hunting, it had never been called beautiful by its prey. Look at those eyes, Sora continued, slowly walking closer. And the way your fur seems to absorb light. That's an amazing evolutionary adaptation, Sora, Minho said carefully. That thing is probably deciding whether to eat you or not. I know, Sora said cheerfully. But it's also probably never met anything that wasn't terrified of it. I bet it's just as curious about us as we are about it. The Void Stalker tilted its head, studying this strange creature that approached it. Without fear, its prey had never behaved this way before. I think it's confused, Hyunwoo observed. Its entire hunting strategies based on fear, but we're not responding correctly. Aaron was taking medical readings from a safe distance. Body temperature is elevated, and I'm detecting stress hormones. I think we're making it nervous. We're making it nervous, Minho asked. Think about it from its perspective, Aaron explained. It's a perfect predator that has never failed to kill its prey. Now it's met something that doesn't run away, and actually seems to like it. That has to be confusing. Sora was now only 10 feet away from the Void Stalker. Hello there. Gorgeous. I'm Sora. What's your name? The Void Stalker made a sound that was somewhere between a growl and a purr. It was clearly trying to decide whether these strange creatures were prey, predators, or something else entirely. I don't think it has a name, Hyunwoo said. Apex predators don't usually need individual identification. I'm going to call you Shadow, Sora announced. You look like a shadow. Shadow, the Void Stalker sat down, apparently giving up on the idea of hunting them. It was still watching them carefully, but the aggressive posture was gone. I think we just made friends. With a Void Stalker, Minho said in amazement. Is that good or bad? Aaron asked. I have no idea, Minho admitted, but it's definitely interesting. The rest of the day proceeded much more peacefully. Shadow followed them around at a distance, apparently fascinated by creatures that treated the galaxy's most dangerous planet like a playground. When they set up camp for the night, it settled down nearby, clearly planning to keep watching them. Day 1 summary, Sora said to her camera as she prepared for sleep. Tia Lara Prime is absolutely beautiful. The radiation levels are manageable. The local predators are friendly, and we haven't died even once. I'm starting to think the Galactic Council might have exaggerated the dangers here. In the distance, more red eyes appeared in the darkness. Shadow had apparently called for backup, but instead of preparing to attack, the other Void Stalkers seemed to be settling down to watch the humans sleep. Either we're about to become the galaxy's most expensive midnight snack, Minho said, or we've just been adopted by a pack of invisible super predators. Either way, Hyunwoo said, checking his equipment one last time. Tomorrow is going to be very interesting. As the team settled down for their first night on the galaxy's deadliest planet, the Void Stalkers kept watch around their camp. For the first time in their species' history, they were protecting something instead of hunting it, and in the morning, they would discover that the humans had left out food for them. The galaxy's most feared predators had just learned what it meant to be pets. 3 weeks after the first human landing on Kelthara Prime, the galaxy was talking about nothing else. Sora's live streams had broken every viewership record in interstellar history. Her daily broadcasts showing humans having picnics with Void Stalkers and swimming in acid lakes had shocked the civilized galaxy aboard Soul's Pride, now permanently stationed in orbit as a base of operations. Minho was reviewing applications from humans who wanted to visit the planet. "How many requests do we have now?" he asked Aaron, who was managing communications. 2,047, Aaron replied. "And that's just from today. We're getting messages from extreme sports athletes, scientists, tourists, and people who just want to prove they can survive here." Han Wu looked up from his workstation, where he was designing new equipment. "I've been analyzing the planet's challenge levels. I think we need to create a rating system." "What kind of rating system?" Minho asked. "Well, different areas of the planet have different danger levels," Hyunwoo explained. "The Crystal Plateau where we landed is actually pretty safe once you get used to the radiation. I'd rate it as beginner-friendly." Sora laughed from where she was editing her latest video. Beginner-friendly. The radiation levels would kill most species in minutes. "That's the point," Hyunwoo said. "For humans, it's manageable. But the deep forests where the carnivorous plants grow, that's intermediate level. And the volcanic regions where the really big Void Stalkers live, that's advanced." Down on the planet's surface, the humans had established what they called Base Camp Alpha in the most dangerous region they could find. K was located between an active volcano that spat acid and A forest of plants that tried to eat anything that moved. Captain Daeyan Jang had arrived the week before with a team of professional mountain climbers. He was currently attempting to scale the acid volcano using equipment that Hyunwoo had designed specifically for climbing in hostile environments. "K, base camp to Soul's Pride." Daeyan's voice crackled through the communicator. "I'm at the 12,000-foot level. The acid geysers are more frequent up here, but the view is incredible." "Copy that, Daeyan," Minho replied. "How are the protective suits holding up?" "It's better than expected. Hyunwoo's acid-resistant coating is working perfectly. I could probably swim in this stuff if I wanted to." "Please don't swim in the acid volcano," Aaron said quickly. "Too late," came another voice over the radio. "This is Yunji. I'm already in one of the acid pools. It's actually quite relaxing once you get used to the tingling sensation." Pilot Yunji Wu had arrived with her own ship and immediately started exploring the planet's aerial challenges. She specialized in flying through impossible weather conditions and had declared Kelthara Prime's plasma storms to be the most fun she'd ever had. "Yunji, you're supposed to be flying, not swimming," Minho said. "I landed to refuel and saw this beautiful acid hot spring. I couldn't resist. Don't worry, I'm wearing full protection." Minho shook his head. "Anyone else want to report doing something that should be impossible?" "This is Sungyan," came another voice. Ranger Sungyan Oh had arrived to scout locations for hiking trails. "I'm currently having lunch with a pack of Void Stalkers. They're actually quite social once you get to know them." "How many Void Stalkers?" Aaron asked, checking her medical monitoring systems. "About 15. The Alpha is a big female I've named Luna. She's been showing me the best hunting paths through the forest." "The Void Stalkers are giving you guided tours?" Sora asked, immediately, switching on her camera to record the conversation. Sort of. They seem to understand that we're not prey, but they're not sure what we are, so they're treating us like strange cubs that need protection. Minho looked at the reports coming in from across the planet. In just 3 weeks, humans had not only survived on Kelthera Prime, they had started rating different regions by difficulty level and were using the galaxy's most feared predators as tour guides. Soul's pride to all teams, Minho announced. We're getting some interesting communications from Offworld. Aaron, what's the galactic reaction to our expedition? Mixed, Aaron replied. The Galactic Council is officially horrified and has declared our activities to be reckless endangerment. Dr. Vextera has submitted 17 formal complaints, and unofficially, betting pools are enormous. The Reptilian Trade Federation has made millions on wagers about our survival rates. The Crystal Collective is selling viewing rights to our live streams. And tourism companies from 12 different species are asking for detailed reports about our survival methods. Sora was reading comments on our latest video. My followers love this. I've got viewers from 300 different worlds now. Some of them are asking if they can visit. Non-humans want to visit Kelthera Prime, Minho asked. Few brave ones. There's a group of young reptilians who think they can handle the beginner areas, and some Crystal Collective researchers want to study how we're surviving. Hungwoo had been working on something new while listening to the conversations. I've been thinking about that. What if we could modify our survival equipment for other species? You want to make Kelthera Prime safe for aliens? Aaron asked. Not safe, just survivable. Different species have different weaknesses. If we can design protection for their specific needs, we could open up tourism to the whole galaxy. Minho considered this. That's either brilliant or completely insane. Why not both? Sora asked cheerfully. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication from Captain Kim back on Earth. Sora's pride. This is Earth Command. We've got a situation developing. What kind of situation? Minho asked. It's a good kind. We've got 47 human ships requesting permission to travel to Kelthera Prime. Word has gotten out that you've turned the galaxy's deadliest planet into a vacation destination. 47 ships, stream sports teams, adventure tourists, research groups, and at least 3 different reality show production companies. Everyone wants a piece of the action. Minho looked around at his team. How do we handle that many people? Carefully, Aaron said. We need proper facilities, safety protocols, and emergency services. I can design modular habitats, Huanwu offered. Something that can expand as more people arrive. And I can work with the Void Stalkers to establish safe zones. Sun Yan's voice came over the radio. Surprisingly cooperative once they understand what we need. Sora was already planning. We could set up different difficulty levels. Easy areas for beginners, medium areas for experienced adventurers, and extreme areas for people who really want to push their limits. Like a theme park, Minho said, slowly. The galaxy's first Death World theme park, Sora agreed. Captain Kim's voice came through again. There's something else you should know. We're getting reports that other species are now studying planets they previously considered uninhabitable. Apparently, watching humans survive on Kelthera Prime has made them rethink what's possible. Are you saying we're inspiring the galaxy to explore dangerous planets? Aaron asked. That's exactly what I'm saying. 3 different species have announced plans to revisit worlds they had written off as too dangerous. The humans have started a trend. Minho looked out the viewport at Kelthera Prime spinning below them. The planet that had been considered a death trap just weeks ago was now showing signs of permanent human habitation. Lights from their base camps dotted the surface like friendly stars. Soul's pride to all surface teams, Minho announced. Congratulations. We're no longer just visitors to Kelthera Prime. We're residents. Does that mean we can start charging admission? Sora asked. I like the way you think, Minho replied. Down on the planet's surface, Shadow the Void Stalker was watching Sora set up another camera for her evening broadcast. The great predator had learned to pose for photos and seemed to enjoy being famous across the galaxy. In the distance, construction crews were building the first permanent human settlement on the galaxy's deadliest planet. They worked alongside void stalkers who had appointed themselves as security guards and tour guides. The impossible had become routine. The deadly had become fun. And the galaxy's most feared planet was about to become its most popular tourist destination. All because humans had looked at certain death and seen the ultimate weekend adventure. 1 year after the first human landing on Kelthara Prime, Captain Hannah Kim stood on the observation deck of the luxury resort that had been built inside a dormant plasma storm. Through the reinforced windows, she could see human tourists surfing acid waves while void stalkers gave guided tours through the carnivorous forests. Hard to believe this used to be considered uninhabitable, she said to Ambassador Yuki Choi, who had arrived for the official opening ceremony of the Kelthara Prime Tourism Board. Even harder to believe that we're booked solid for the next 18 months, Yuki replied, checking her tablet. Tang, we have waiting lists from 43 different species. The resort lobby was bustling with activity. Human families checked in for their Death World adventure packages, while their children played with young void stalkers in the supervised interaction areas. Alien tourists wearing specially designed survival suits took selfies with the crystal formations that had once been considered lethal radiation sources. Soar Nam walked through the lobby, her bright pink hair now recognizable across the galaxy. She had become the official spokesperson for Kelthara Prime Tourism and was currently filming a welcome video for new visitors. Welcome to Kelthara Prime, she said to her camera, the galaxy's premier extreme vacation destination. Whether you're here for our beginner-friendly radiation valleys or our expert-level volcanic crater diving, we guarantee you'll have the adventure of a lifetime. Behind her, a group of Crystal Collective researchers were excitedly taking measurements of the singing crystals while wearing protective suits that Hyun Woo had designed specifically for their crystalline biology. Our safety record speaks for itself, Sora continued. In 1 full year of operation, we've had 0 fatalities and only minor injuries, mostly from people who ignored the safety guidelines and tried to pet the carnivorous plants. The Jinwoo Park appeared beside her, wearing the uniform of the Kelthara Prime Research Institute. From a scientific perspective, this planet has taught us more about survival biology than any other discovery in galactic history. We've documented over 200 new species, and most of them are surprisingly friendly once you approach them correctly. The camera panned across the resort's main attractions. There was the Plasma Storm Observatory, where visitors could watch lightning shows from complete safety. The Acid Lake Spa offered therapeutic treatments using carefully diluted acid waters. The Void Stalker Sanctuary allowed tourists to interact with the planet's former apex predators, who now worked as tours, guides, and security guards. The most popular attraction, Sora explained, is still our extreme sports complex. We offer volcano boarding, acid surfing, radiation skiing, and our world-famous Void Stalker pack runs, where you can join a hunting party and experience the planet the way the original inhabitants do. Minho Lee approached them, wearing the uniform of Kelthara Prime Security. Hey, he had been promoted to Chief of Safety Operations, a job that mostly involved making sure tourists didn't do anything too stupid. How are the new arrivals settling in? Hannah asked. Better than expected, Minho replied. The reptilian delegation is loving the volcanic regions. Their heat tolerance makes them natural volcano climbers, and the Harmony species have established a meditation retreat in the crystal caves. What about the betting pools? Completely changed, Minho said with a grin. Instead of betting on human survival rates, they're now betting on which new extreme sport will invent next. Hyun Wukong had set up a workshop in the resort's lower levels, where he continued to design new equipment for different species. His latest project was a line of protective gear that would allow even the most fragile species to safely visit Kelthara Prime. The key he explained to a group of engineering students from across the galaxy, is understanding that danger is relative. What's deadly to one species might be perfectly manageable to another. The trick is finding the right protection for each visitor. He gestured to a wall display showing survival suits designed for dozens of different alien biologies. For gas-based species, we use containment fields. For photosynthetic species, we provide radiation converters that turn the harmful energy into usable nutrients. For species that breathe methane, we've built atmospheric processors that can convert the local air. One of the students, a young crystalline being raised a transparent appendage. What about species like us that are vulnerable to organic contamination? Excellent question, Hyunwoo said, pulling out a crystal-clear protective suit. This creates a completely sterile environment while still allowing you to experience everything the planet has to offer. You can even go swimming in the acid lakes. Meanwhile, in the communications center, Aaron Song was coordinating with medical facilities across the galaxy. As chief medical officer for Kelthera Prime, she had developed treatment protocols for injuries that had never existed before. Kelthera Prime, medical to Galactic Health Services, she said into her communicator. We're submitting our quarterly report. Total visitor injuries this month: 17 minor acid burns, 4 cases of radiation exposure, and 1 tourist who insisted on trying to ride a void stalker. Casualties, came the response. None. All injuries were treated successfully with standard protocols. The tourist who tried to ride the void stalker was gently carried back to the resort by his intended mount. The communication officer on the other end paused. The void stalker carried him back safely. They're very protective of tourists now, Aaron explained. They seem to consider all visitors to be under their care. We haven't had a single predator attack since opening day. In the resort's main conference room, Captain Hannah Kim was hosting the monthly Galactic Council meeting. Representatives from 12 species attended via hologram, including Dr. Vextera, who had finally admitted that the humans might have been right about Kelthera Prime. Its current visitor statistics, Hannah announced, show that we're hosting an average of 5,000 tourists per month from 47 different species. Safety ratings remain at the highest level, and customer satisfaction surveys are consistently positive. What about the local ecosystem? Asked Counselor Seth. Are we disrupting the natural balance? It's quite the opposite, Dr. Park replied, joining the meeting. The planet's ecosystem has actually improved since human habitation began. The void stalkers are healthier and more active. Carnivorous plants are growing in more diverse patterns. Even the acid lakes have developed more complex chemistry. It appears, Dr. Vextera said slowly, that this planet needed interaction with intelligent life to reach its full potential. The previous isolation may have been limiting its development. Speaking of development, Hannah said, we're ready to announce the next phase of expansion. She activated a holographic display showing plans for multiple planetary installations. Based on our success here, we're planning to open similar facilities on other formerly uninhabitable worlds. Other death worlds? Counselor Seth asked. 17 of them, initially, Hannah confirmed. Each one offers unique challenges and experiences. There's Zephora 7 with its sentient storm systems, Magma Prime with its living lava flows, and Ice Death with its crystalline predators. You're planning to turn the galaxy's most dangerous planets into tourist destinations? Dr. Vextera asked. Why not? Sora said, entering the meeting room with Shadow, the Void Stalker, walking beside her. Danger is just another word for adventure. If you approach it correctly. Shadow had become something of a celebrity himself. He wore a specially designed collar that translated his telepathic communications into galactic standard language. He had even started giving interviews to news services. From a Void Stalker perspective, Shadow's translated voice said, "The humans have made this planet much more interesting. Before they arrived, we just hunted and slept. Now we have jobs, entertainment, and friends from other worlds. Devoid. Stalkers have jobs. Counselor Seth asked weakly. Tour guide. Security. Search and rescue. And customer service. Shadow replied proudly. I personally have a 5-star rating on the galactic tourism review sites. Ambassador Yuki stood up for the closing remarks. 1 year ago, the Galactic Council classified Kelthara Prime as the most dangerous planet in known space. Today, it's the most popular vacation destination in the galaxy. She gestured toward the windows where tourists could be seen enjoying activities that would have been considered impossible just months before. This transformation represents more than just human adaptability, Yuki continued. It represents a fundamental change in how we think about the impossible. When humans see a challenge, we don't ask if it can be overcome. We ask how much fun we can have overcoming it. The meeting ended with the announcement of the annual Death World Olympics competition that would bring extreme sports athletes from across the galaxy to compete in challenges that pushed the boundaries of survival. As the delegates logged off, Hannah looked out at the bustling resort that had grown around what was once considered certain death. Families were checking in for their vacations. Scientists were making discoveries, and former apex predators were giving guided tours to visitors from across the galaxy. Souls, prior to Earth Command, she said into her communicator. Mission. Status update. Kelthara Prime is officially no longer the galaxy's deadliest planet.